Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Vinsyn with Interviews. I have on my next interview right now is uh, I call him a supermodel. I don't know the difference between supermodel and regular model, but to me, supermodel. When I first met this brother, I was like not enchanted, but I was like, "Yo, this dude is fly, and I gotta get on his level." Like, you ever walk into a room and be like, I need to be friends with that dude because that dude looked like he knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Like he like everything about him was just so fly. And I was like, I gotta get to know this dude. Um, Morgan Striggles. Did I say that right? Morgan Striggles. Did I say that right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. Straight out of Augusta, Georgia. Here you
hmm
are, a model. So tell us about your modeling career. Now I heard that it wasn't like your dream job, but you like fell into it. I trust me. I know how to. I know what it's like because it wasn't my dream
Yeah,
not to be a chef. So
right. No, I mean, life works in mysterious ways,
mm,
to say the least. So, how I got into modeling was I was at SU at the time as an undergrad. I believe I was in my freshman or sophomore year, and I went to a fashion show on campus that was held by like some different student organizations, and one of the alumni. Um, I met actually turned out to be a really big model in New York City, and I didn't know who she was at the time. And she was a plus size model, which was, really up and coming at that time. And I played sports. I was on the crew team at Syracuse, and I ended up tearing my ACL. And it was my second tear, and I had to get surgery, so I was in a cast.
mm.
So she comes and sits down next to me, and she told me that I looked like I should have been in that show if I didn't have the cast on. And I told her, I was like, ironically enough, I have been hearing that lately, and I was looking to get into it and just, find out what I needed to do. So she was like, "Oh, if you're ever in New York City, check me out." And she gave me one of her cards, and I ended up doing that. One of the best advice that she gave to me was to start locally. Since I didn't live in New York City, is to sign here with a
Mm.
reputable agency and just get my feet wet and then try to make it big in New York. And that's exactly what I did. I ended up signing with the agency. It was called AMS at the time. And the owner, rest her soul, she passed away a couple of years ago, but it stood for Amory Stone Cipher. And she
All right.
was amazing, and she taught me so much about the industry and everything like that, just like the basic knowledge and the know-how and how to conduct myself when I would go to auditions and the kind of headshots you need and things like that. So it was really good. And long story short, I ended up booking a couple of shows down there. And then I got a break and landed a New York Fashion Week show. And it just kind of grew from there. And it's an industry about meeting people. It's a small network once you're in it. And then the same circles kind of just run together, and you constantly see each other at like casting calls and auditions and different shows. So and that was in 2013. Yeah, 2013 is when I landed my first New York Fashion Week show. But my really big show came in 2016 when I landed Kanye West Yeezy Season 3. It's a Mercedes Benz at the time. And it was extremely cutthroat, to say the least. So they had three separate auditions, and you had to literally pass each audition to make it to the next. So the
Really?
first one was in Long Island. Yeah, it was in Long Island. They told me literally hours before the first audition. And I had a full-time job here. I was working at City Hall, and I couldn't make it. Just if I had taken a flight, and by the time I'd have gotten down there from catching a shuttle from the from the airport, even a ride, I wouldn't have made it. The bus was definitely out the question. Train even further out the question. So I let them know. I was like, look, I'm sorry, I can't make it. you know, it's unfortunate. I can't, it's too short a notice. I said, but if you're still in need of a model tomorrow, please let me know. So what I did to prepare for that, just in case, was take off the next day. I called my boss and say, listen, I got this opportunity, can't miss it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So he understood. And that my former boss was really good that way. He understood. He said, look, you got to do what's best for you. So he's like, you know, I have no problem with that. So I made sure my work was all, you know, I didn't have anything outstanding that I needed to be dealt with right then and there. And sure enough, at around 11:30 that night, I got a text message saying, hey, we would love for you to come to the audition tomorrow. Now, the final two were held in Madison Square Garden. Never been in Madison Square Garden before a day in my life until then.
Really?
So I got there, security was tight. And then before the audition started, Kanye came in and he put on the show for us. And he started like, so the concert, it was a concert / fashion show. And he performed some of the songs from his brand new album that wasn't released yet.
Was that Yeezy? Was that the Yeezy album?
It was, no, it's like, what was it called? God, I can't remember the name of it now. It was
Life of Pablo?
Yes, Life of Pablo. That's it.
Yeah.
Life of Pablo. And he performed Wolves and two other songs for us. And it was amazing. I mean, and then you had like Kim Kardashian, she was down on because we were up like on the first level of like where the seats were.
Yeah.
And he came and there was like a little opening in the aisle and he came and performed for us right there. And
cool.
Kim Kardashian was actually down on the floor. And I think it was Northwest. Northwest was a baby and she's holding the baby down on the floor while he's performing for us. It was really cool. And then he just introduced himself to us. He wanted to meet the models who were auditioning for his show. So he sat there and watched us for the most part. He was there for about an hour and a half. The audition was like 2 hours. And then they selected you right there and said that you did great or, you know, you didn't make the cut. And they said that they asked us if we'd be available to do the audition like first thing tomorrow morning. And so they asked me and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So when I got there at 8 a.m., they said if we did well, like during this last audition, we'd be the one selected for the show. Yeah, I kid you not. It was intense.
So what entails of like doing the what is like when you audition for a model, like what exactly do you have to do? You know what I mean? What so like when you model, because I don't know, I just know what I see on TV. You know what I mean? So I don't know, like, is it like you got to walk a certain way? Do you have to pose a certain
You
way?
do. Yep, you actually have to. You got to walk a certain way. You can't swing your arms too much. So like how you typically would walk down the street. I don't know, some people may have it naturally, some don't, but I don't think it's very natural. I mean, it is now because that's all you rehearse, that's all you practice, so it kind of becomes a part of you.
Yeah.
But for males, it's nowhere near like a female. Female has to kind of have like a little slight bend to their, like a little arc in their back, and they gotta like move their hands in a certain way, and arms can't swing out too much. One arm may swing more than the other, but it's like there's a motion, there's a movement to it, you know, and it's like they gotta wear certain size heels and stuff. I mean, it's insane what they go through. For us, it's not as rigorous as that. It's more of just like a manly walk. You know what I mean? It's just like we're kind of just walking like we normally would, but you still got to be straight, you know, no like no limps, no, you know, nothing like that. It's a power walk. You got to have a power walk. So yeah, it's not natural. And for males, you know, you don't really have to do all the extras as the women models, the female models, but we still have to have like the power poses, you know, maybe grabbing onto our jacket, opening it up if we have a design on the inside, something like that. It all depends, but the game has changed for sure. Even from when I started, there are a lot more, I would say, genderless type of designs now that they have that
Yeah.
both male and female wear. So it just all depends on what that designer is looking for. So that typical masculine, that, power walk that, I'm accustomed to. Some models decide to go for a genderless look in a show, they may have them doing something a little bit softer, because of the outfit. So it just all depends.
I remember like being in the culinary background. I used to do, but the Wolf Nation knows. I used to do what's called parties, which is do catering. I used to work with a lot of waiters who were in different fields, and a couple of them were models. And one of them used to be a Tiger Woods double. Now this is before the scandal came out. So he was telling me that one of the things that he had to do was like you're supposed to like, I guess for like your headshot, you had to like put your shoulders back and stick your face out or something. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. You got to make your chest pop out more, show the muscles a bit.
Yeah.
Another thing
I,
you have to
al- I
do
always
is,
remember that when he told me that. So like sometimes when I take
yeah,
pictures, I just do it. I don't know why. I just like he was telling me,
yeah.
and I was like, yeah, let me just do that. Maybe I'll look better.
No, it's a lifestyle. It certainly is a lifestyle. Another thing you have to do, like, unless you have a natural, chiseled, strong looking jaw,
Mm.
if you don't have that, then you have to clench your teeth, especially like the back part of your jaw to pop out to give it a stronger look.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, listen
yeah,
to Wolf Nation. Take notes.
yeah. There's so much to it. There's so many little nuances here, and then also got to learn to smile with your eyes, not with your lips, not with your face. You got to smile with your eyes, meaning that you got to have soft eyes, even if you kind of have not a frown, but you're looking serious, and you got a stern look on your face, but have soft eyes.
I would say like
Unless you
that's like a southern term. You smile with your eyes because people used to say
smile with
that.
your eye. No, it's in fashion too. So
But
you don't want all your pictures to be, hardcore like you're a serial killer. Some of them you gotta, you gotta have that you gotta learn to smile with your eyes. That's a real thing, and it's very tough. You gotta practice. With the runway walk, when I first started out, I never took a class or anything like that. I just ended up going to shows and watching different videos and things like that. And it's harder than it looks. You think you could just watch people walk and everything. No, it's a technique behind it. I didn't learn how to truly walk until I was around people in the industry and going to auditions and things like that. It's tough. It's something that you have to work on. And one of the best advice that I learned was that you don't have to, spend a ton of money once you learn what to do. You just have to keep practicing at it. And one of the best advice that I learned was to get a full body mirror, full length mirror, put it at the end of your hallway or wherever you have like a pretty decent long space,
Mm.
and you walk. You practice your walk. That way, when you have that full body mirror there, you can work on your arc, making sure that you're not slouching, making sure that, you not taking too wide of steps. It's really a science to it. And then at the end of the runway, because of where the cameras are positioned, you have to stop at a certain point. And you can't look down. You can't look down. So you have to remember where the stopping point is on the stage.
So you have to like
Because
count.
if not, no, you don't count. You just remember, you have to remember it.
I mean, like
That's the
count
point of,
steps. Do you like count? All right, it's
no, don't
really
count steps. Because you can be off a step if if that's all you're focusing on, you're counting the steps, your mind is not focused 100% on your walk.
I
You
hear what
see
you're
what
saying.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and then you have to focus on what pose you're getting ready to do at the end of that, because you can't keep doing the same pose. So if
Yeah.
you got two different looks, two looks is having two different outfits. You got to do a different pose each time. So
Mm.
you have to really focus on having the best walk that you can have, but also remember where the end line is for you to stop. Because if you go past that, the shots for the cameras, some of the photographers, they may get a shot and it may cut off your head, or it may be out of focus and grainy because you're too close to the camera. It's so much. There's so many little things that can actually end your career.
Yeah.
uh,
I mean,
that's one of
that's you're right about the science. Like it's like with a lot of stuff, there's always like a science and nuance to it. You know, even with cooking, like I gotta like when you line cook, you gotta remember where every single thing is, so you ain't gotta even look for it. You just go grab it without even, you know what I mean? So it's like kind of like that. Like you just know I'm gonna walk.
just
I know where to stop. I know what move I'm gonna do. I know
absolutely.
all that stuff. So like,
For you, I know time is of the essence. Being a chef, you got to have things prepared and ready.
yes,
Um,
things got
so
prepared. You gotta know. Like I tell people, the people that I work with, they always ask me if I have a thermometer, and I tell them
mhm,
no. And I always go through this all the time. And I tell them no. I was like, I was trained to not use a thermometer because I
right.
know how to cook. I know when something is like a steak. I know when a steak is rare, medium. Like I know when it is. I have gloves on. I can touch it and tell you where it's at. Sitting with
Okay.
chicken, pork, like because I know the texture of it, of what
Right.
temperature it is. But some
To
people
see
need
what.
thermometers. Not to say
Yeah.
like I don't ever use it. Sometimes I'll have to use it for certain things. Yeah, but as a
Right.
line cook, you're trained not to use it. You know what I mean? Like you train not to do that stuff. And just like you as a model, you train yourself not to count how many steps there is.
Right.
You train yourself
Yeah.
not to swing your arms. You get it's all about training your mind, training your body to do these things. You know.
Absolutely. And
And
looking down, the one thing you never want. That's the biggest thing they tell you when you're walking. Of course, don't fall, don't slip,
yeah,
and be on time with, you have to also remember like when somebody goes out because they can't see your outfit before you actually hit the stage. So you have to keep in mind when the model in front of you goes out, when to walk. You have to time it all. And you got to do that without looking to see where that model is. You have to, if you're fortunate enough and you got a big enough show where they got the budget to have somebody that will notify the models, like, okay, you're up next. Come on, you're up. Let's go. You don't have that, then you have to just really be paying attention. So that if I have two looks, I get done with the first one, I get done with my walk and I go backstage, I literally sometimes have only 45 seconds to get dressed for my next look and then be
damn,
back in line. And you got to be back in the same order as when you started.
that's
Yeah, I
crazy.
kid you not. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's so much to it. I kid you not.
That
It can be going sometimes. So
now you talked about earlier. You worked at City Hall and you went
mhm,
to SU. So you went to SU for political science and sociology, and then you worked at
correct.
City Hall, and you were the
Former chief.
chief of
Yep.
staff for President
To
Van Robinson.
correct. Yep.
So how
Yep.
was your career there? Because I do political stuff too. So like just a little. I just want to talk about some political stuff while you're here. Just so
Yeah, of course.
how was your experience there?
Oh, it was amazing. I loved it. I met a lot of great contacts and still, I'm in touch with some of the friends that I made during my time there at City Hall. And they're doing wonderful things. The majority of them are still in politics, working in government as well.
Mm.
So it was really great. I enjoyed it. He was, couldn't ask for a better boss. He was amazing. He was understanding. But he was also very driven as well. This he has a undying love for the city of Syracuse and for the residents here, and he wants to see nothing but the best for everyone. In his initiatives that were really driven for giving the best quality of life possible for the residents here, no matter what your income level was. But the ones who, were more on the low income side, he was definitely an advocate and a voice for them, making sure that, he was trying to fight for them and just, so he was great. He was a wonderful person to work for. And the reason why I left was because he was already in his second term when I joined his staff.
Yeah.
And as I was an appointment. So when that term ends, so does my job. So I didn't want to leave it up to chance,
Yeah.
to see who would win the election. Um, and fortunately, a good friend of mine, an ally, Council President Helen Hudson, actually won that chair. So I'm very happy to see that she did. But it was great. I learned so much from him. He had a very good working relationship and was close to Governor Cuomo. And, even on a federal level, he had a lot of contacts. He had been in politics for forever. Even before he was an elected official, he had been on the business politics side of things, given what he used to do when he was working, before he retired. So he had, a lot of connections then that he had built through working with the governor or with the politicians then. And it just translated well over to when he ran for office. So it was great. It was something that I'll never forget. It was, eye-opening. But in the same light, it also made me realize not anything to do with him, but just seeing how politics can be. It just kind of, settled in that it wasn't for me. Like I didn't want to run for office after that. And the whole purpose of me getting a degree in political science and sociology was that I wanted to run for like US Congress or US Senator. And I didn't, yeah. But like, again, that's life. Life works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like to be honest with you, me doing this show, I should have listened to the dude because I'm originally from New York City, and I did. I talked about this on my show several times. I did Teen Talk Radio in Brooklyn, and I was on it twice. And the guy, because he's one of the producers, he goes, you really got a knack for this. You should, do it as a career. You should think about it. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to be a WWE superstar. That was my dream to join the WWE. And
Yeah.
then my guidance counselor was going around in my senior year asking people, what they want to be. Damn near all the women was like they want to be CNAs. All the guys either want to be a rapper, R&B, or NBA player. And then got to me and I said I wanted to be a WWE superstar. And she told me to get a real career. And cooking and doing YouTube videos has been my gig ever since. So I want to ask you about this quote you said on Syracuse.com. You said modeling and working for the government is kind of the same. There's very little room for error. Your reputation is at stake. What so you're saying, what do you mean by that? Elaborate.
So in politics, the moment you decide you're going to run for any office, you are now under a microscope. You can't sneeze wrong without somebody looking into it and say, oh, is there something behind that? Same in modeling. The moment you get a reputation for being difficult and hard to work with, you are out of the door before you could even, open it. If you are late for auditions, if you are late for, depending on, so most auditions have like like say a 2-3 hour window, depending on how many models they need for the show. But if it's just something that you have to be there, say at like 3 p.m. sharp, if you're there at 3:01, 3:02, you may be out the door. They lock the door and then you're out the show, automatically because you couldn't be there on time. If you're late for a show or you don't even bring the audition, they normally will ask you to wear all black boots, black shoes, not black sneakers, but like black dress shoes or black dressy boots, black jeans that are fitted, not baggy, no holes in them, no, discolor, kind of bleach stains in or anything like that, whatever the kids are wearing these days.
Yeah.
And then like a black fitted shirt. Could be a long sleeve shirt or a V-neck shirt. They don't typically want, or it could be a crew neck as well, doesn't matter, but it has to be fitted. Now, if you show up in anything other than that, you may be kicked out of the audition, because you can't follow directions.
Yeah.
And, so that's what I meant by like, it's a very thin rope. And even when I wasn't in the elected seat, but because of my position with this elected official, with Van Robinson, I was being watched too. So if I got in trouble or anything like that, of course, it would probably hit the media because of my position with Van and things like that. And then if you get in trouble, any serious trouble, you can, for the most part, kind of hang it up, right? And especially with me being an appointment, him is different. If you're an elected, you have to be voted out of office and shown that you can, you're unfit for duty unless the crime is that damaging to your career, your self-image, then you'll resign. But somebody who's an appointment, there's nothing holding me there. If I get in trouble, you could be fired at just like that, and New York State is a right to fire state. So you can really fire anybody at any time. They may receive unemployment, yes, but you can still get rid of them for any reason. So that's what I meant. And the same with the shows. And, you may go through 2 casting calls, with the same casting designer, and they will love you, And so then you may get invited to a 3rd casting call, and it may be with that designer or somebody in that fashion house. And then they're like, oh, you look great, but the only issue is your fingers are too long for this jacket. You make the sleeves look too short. Then you're out of the show. I've been in shows where I've seen models actually make it, go through the casting, they made it. They don't ever use the outfits that you're going to wear in the show for the casting call, but I saw this one model. He went through 2 rounds, made it, no problem, hands down, strong walk, got to the show backstage. We were, getting dressed. The jacket was too tight and they couldn't button on him because he had more of a muscular frame, kind of like not a football player, but you get what I'm saying. He was a pretty big guy. And the jacket wouldn't button. They bounced him. He couldn't do the show. I kid you not.
Just because the jacket, they couldn't just put him in something else?
Absolutely. They couldn't have. That's what they had. They had him in one look, and that was the look.
That's crazy.
And they had nothing else for him. I think they tried finding something, but it didn't work, so he couldn't walk. That almost happened to me too. In the show I walked in 2019, I walked for, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a company, it's called Daniel's Leather. They're really big. Are you familiar with them?
No, it sounds familiar, but talk about it.
Yeah, so he does everything from mink coats to fox fur. I mean, you name it, it's, he's really a big name. He did a couple of coats for like P. Diddy and Fabulous.
I saw the picture of you. You're in that, it's like beige or like light brown. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
So he actually, I just saw a picture that he just made a coat for P. Diddy again, I think, and gave it to him like a week or 2 ago. And he's working with like Yandy Smith, and she's bought a couple of pieces, the Kardashians, you name it. You want to go, I mean, he's the like fur designer for the stars. So I walked for him. But how that happened, I was initially slated to walk for another designer in that show. And I didn't quite fill out this. He had more of a pajama look and nothing wrong with it. I didn't know that going into it. And, it wasn't my ideal thing. Like the shoes were kind of like house slippers. And I'm like, I don't want to be seen wearing this on camera, and it was very nice. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't see eye to eye. And the one outfit that he wanted me to wear wasn't what so long story short, I ended up I spoke with the owner of Daniel's Leather, and he is like, oh yeah, you're perfect. And he is like, I got you covered. And ironically enough, the outfit that I was wearing, he said was just the look he wanted. So this is the outfit I actually wore to the show. So the only thing I had to put on was his coat. I kid you not.
That's
And
crazy.
turns out he ended up having the best look of the entire show.
Yeah, I
So
was looking at some pictures. I think that was the one that had Zendaya was in it, Rihanna, right?
yes, that's the
Yeah.
one. Rihanna actually had her show over. So her show was similar to how Kanye did his. So
Mm.
Kanye had a sold out show of like 21 or 22,000 fans in the stands um, at Madison Square Garden. So Rihanna, on the same night I had my show, she had a sold out show over in the Barclays Center.
All right.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. But we all had a show like that night. So I had mine. I walked for Daniel's Leather, and I ended up partnering with. Um, they're called the Fashion Life Tour,
Mm.
and so and unfortunately we haven't been able to work together since due to the COVID pandemic. But one of the founders is her name is Kiara Baling, and she was the runner-up in the 2012 cycle of America's Next Top Model. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So she did like a little performance during the show, and we ended up hosting a class for the models who were going to be walking or
Mm.
doing the audition. And we were showing them how to walk and how to pose, and I spoke with the models and was talking to them about my experiences and what I would love to see for them. And I'm still in contact with quite a few of them now. And we did a photo shoot, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And then, we were getting ready to do big things, and then
Yeah.
COVID pandemic struck. So,
So now
yeah,
everything's on hold until this pandemic is basically under control.
for, for me,
Yeah.
for me, I'm not doing any shows. It's not like it used to be.
Mm.
Unfortunately, even if I were to, like, so New York Fashion Week is getting ready to happen, from the 13th through the 15th. They got a couple of shows going on, but it's not the same. You can't have, like the photographers there waiting for you, the videographers, before you even walk up to the venue. They're usually taking pictures and videos of you, and you got to sign a release. Like, I don't want to find out. I've been hearing how the new shows have gone since the pandemic has started, and I can wait. So to be
Because
honest with you, I've reached. Hmm?
oh,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Every goal I've set forth for myself. When I started out with this, the first thing I was like, I want to sign with an agent. I did that. I
Mm.
signed locally, and then I signed with some of the larger agencies down in Manhattan. Then I set another goal, like I want to walk in a fashion show. And then I ended up doing that. Then I
Mm.
set a new goal, I want to walk in Fashion Week. Got it. Then I was like, you know what? I want to walk in the New York Fashion Week. Like, I want to walk for Mercedes Benz. It's now under BMW called the Shows. But at the time it was Mercedes Benz. It was in the Lincoln Center and everything, the iconic Lincoln Center. They don't hold them in the Lincoln Center anymore due to traffic, and the Supreme Court shut that down. But um, I ended up getting in that with Kanye. Then I walked for like Centel McDonald from season 16 of Project Runway, and then
Mm.
Daniel's Leather. So I ended up reaching that goal. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something crazy. I want to be on a billboard. So then I ended up getting on a billboard for H&M, and it was just plastered all over New York City, and so it was pretty cool. And then the last thing I wanted is to be on the cover of a magazine. Well, before that, I was like, I want to be in a magazine. And I've been in several magazines now. So now, like, I want to be on the cover. like there's a new status to being on the cover of a magazine.
Mm.
And ironically enough, I just landed a cover spot on a fashion magazine. I believe it's pronounced Luxia, it's Luxia. And it actually comes out this week now, next week or this weekend coming. So the magazine is released.
I'll definitely be
Um,
sharing it.
yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, they're gonna send me, the link to the online one, and then you'll be able to get the hard copies and everything like that. I gotta find out where they're sold and everything. Cause I want it myself.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. That's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's
so
it.
one of my final questions before we wrap up, I want to know if you still ball.
No.
Not now because of COVID, but pre-COVID.
Even before, yeah. Actually, the last time I didn't ball with anyone. There were about 2 or 3 basketball courts around Central New York that still have rims up. So I found 2 of the 3. No, actually, all 3. I went and was shooting around.
This is during
One of my,
COVID? You talking about like during now, like recently? Oh, all
during
right.
COVID. Yeah, the one that I go to is out in Cicero. Nobody's there ever. So I go around, I shoot, I try to see if I can still dunk and all that stuff. And yeah, I was there one day for like 2 hours just shooting. I brought my little portable speaker, had my music going. I was just putting up shots. And I took a video of it, and I think I hit like 6 or 7 shots in a row, ranging from 2-pointers to 3-pointers, little layups and all that stuff. And
I
then,
see you still got it. I hear you.
yeah. So, but to play with other people, no. I did play a couple of games of horse with one of my best friends from college, Al. Me and him hit up on the courts, but to actually play like a full 5-on-5, no.
Nah.
Like, you can't right now.
Yeah,
So,
not right now, obviously.
yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this interview. I truly appreciate it. Where can people follow you and get your see your pictures and your modeling? What's your
Absolutely. Instagram. They can follow me on Instagram. It's the handle is Morgan, Morgan, and then 5062. So no spaces, no underscore, just Morgan 5062.
check this dude out? He's up and coming. Oh, he already there. I already think I already told y'all. Before I let you go, who you got? LeBron or Jordan? GOAT.
Jordan.
See, man. See.
Oh, don't tell me you're a LeBron.
Well,
Oh.
I'm not LeBron, but we'll talk off mic. So thank you guys so much for watching this interview with Morgan Striggles, and follow him on Instagram. Watch out for my next show, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.